These countries desperately need help, not during conflict, of course, not for professional disciplines from outside, but before and after. They struggle to survive. They need people of every discipline. They need what we call broadly in the field of multilateralism technical assistance, which covers the entire panoply of human administrative experience. If such things were available earlier in countries when they are struggling for viability, then the conflict and the breakdowns and the desperate impoverishment which breeds the conflict and the breakdowns might never occur. Let me turn to an adjacent country. Burundi is crowded cheek by jowl against Rwanda. Indeed, the two ethnic groups about which the world has heard so much, the Hutu and the Tutsi, are the dominant groups in both countries. I sit on a panel of 7, which was constituted by the Organization of African Unity to investigate the genocide in Rwanda. We've been doing that for some 9 or 10 months now, and we will issue a report early in the year 2000. That is of little consequence except to say to you that I have had some considerable involvement with Rwanda and the exploration of the genocide over the last year. And apart from all of the trauma and the terror which you can imagine one encounters every time one enters that desperate land, 500,000 to 800,000 people slaughtered in the 3 months of April, May, and June 1994. What I've understood, and it is one of those monumental credits to the determination of humankind, what I've understood is the way this little country, despite what it experienced in 1994, a country of 7 million people, is attempting to engage in nation building now, is attempting to reconstruct a society out of the ashes of ugly and lunatic self-immolation. They're struggling with budgets, they're struggling with debts, they're struggling with commodity prices, they're struggling with foreign exchange fluctuations, they're struggling with healthcare costs, they're struggling with educational costs. Their entire future, their entire survival rests on financial acumen. Exactly the kind of financial acumen which is represented in this room. You exercise it day in and day out in what has been described from this platform earlier as your capacity to deal with financial risk and contingent events. Let me remind you of something. Last Friday, the world was greeted to the announcement of the Nobel Prize winners, the Peace Prize winners for 1999. It was the group called Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, who were saluted for their remarkable international humanitarian work. They have some 2,000 doctors now working for very modest monthly incomes, fanning out across the developing world in areas where there is tortured conflict or serious natural disasters or famines or other man-made or annihilating human experiences. They intervene, they save lives, they even engage in political advocacy because they are unself-conscious about the circumstances which they meet and which they want to describe to the rest of the world. I have a question. By what law, by what axiom of nature, do only the so-called helping professions have to be seen as those who rescue the uprooted and disinherited? There's no romanticism in what I'm about to say. But why not actuaries? If I was faintly impish, I might say, why not ASF? Actuaries Sans Frontières. Actuaries Without Borders. All right, maybe the work would not command a Nobel Peace Prize down the road. But is not the ability to help countries create a modern nation state an equally fine contribution to the improvement of the human condition worthy of equivalent public plaudits?